Ready to go?
Hello everybody, and welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Yay!
With my usual guest, host, Kaye Lazar.
And that's me!
Yes, yes, and then this is a beautiful day today.
Yes, we have a lovely, we're here at the Petrified Forest here.
Yes, and we're sitting here drinking apple juice.
Juice boxes.
Yeah, how about that?
We're going back to our childhood.
Yes, yes, I used to remember those Capri Suns back in the day. You know, they're like in a baggy type of thing.
I remember the baggy.
I used to love those when I was growing up.
A lot of those things I used to love when I was young, that I don't like now. Capri Sun. What else? High C, Hawaiian Punch,
yes.
Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Now I don't. Now it's if it's not 100% juice, I don't want it.
They're high fructose corn syrup.
You don't want any of that stuff. 100% apple juice. Well, that's good.
And this is also 100% apple juice.
Yeah,
so.
yes, yeah. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes. So, and
so yeah. So I've been, thinking about, all the good food, like. It's coming up with St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, St. Paddy's Day.
Gonna be on the old sod drinking
Guinness. And what's the other one?
You know what I used to love was Irish coffee.
I love Irish coffee, and I also love Bailey's on the Rocks.
Bailey's on the Rocks is good.
Yes.
Bailey's. I don't know about Bailey's on the. I never really drank a whole lot of Bailey's because it's a little. It's like drinking pancake syrup with a little bit of alcohol. They said it will get you drunk. I said, yeah, if you drink the whole bottle. I don't want to drink the whole bottle of it. It costs like $30 a bottle. But what I used to love when I drank was Irish coffee. And Irish coffee was, Irish coffee. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's very simple to make. And it's the only time I would drink whiskey the whole year. Whiskey and I never got along.
Yeah.
And what it would be was you get real Irish whiskey like Jameson. You would get granulated sugar, not stevia.
Yeah.
or sweet and low.
Yeah.
You would get, what else? Coffee, the real coffee, not the Folgers crystals.
Yeah.
And then you would get the, what else would you get? You would get the whipped cream. And not the Cool Whip.
Wow.
Though, if you're in a pinch, you could use Jack Daniel's whiskey, stevia, Folgers crystals, and Cool Whip, and you got yourself an orange Irish coffee.
Right.
But if you want a green Irish coffee, which is still brown, you would go to you would get. Like I said, and it was the only time of the year I would drink hard whiskey. And it actually worked out great because you'd have the coffee counteracting the alcohol content. Because usually you have to drink coffee after you drink a lot of alcohol anyway. So you might as well drink the coffee, Yeah. But I was thinking of like all the good stuff I've been eating. I've been on a real health kick. And eating what do you eat to stay healthy?
I like to eat strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, bananas.
Apple,
anything.
I went to the grocery store a couple of weeks ago during this.
Also tomatoes. I love tomatoes.
That's a fruit.
Well, it's not a fruit, but it's a vegetable.
It is a fruit.
Oh, really?
I think it is. Yeah.
It was just a vegetable.
They classify as a fruit because it grows above ground.
That makes sense.
Vegetables grow under the ground. I think. But what's crazy is that you know what else is classified as a fruit is like habanero peppers, which aren't sweet at all. They're sweet in their own way if you can get past the pepper quality, the spiciness.
Right. You know what to do?
Go ahead.
When you eat a spicy pepper, if you don't want the spice, take a knife and cut those little seeds on the inside out.
There you go. And just eat the rind.
Yeah. That's what I was taught. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because once you chew those up, that's really hot. You're
right.
So I would. So yeah, I know what you're saying. So I eat fruit all the time, and I'm a bit of a health nut, and I was one of the first to introduce yogurt to the high school curriculum. You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone. No, yogurt. When I was eating yogurt, yogurt wasn't what people ate.
Right,
you know?
right.
It was. In fact, I read an article about yogurt. It's kind of weird how they make yogurt. Yogurt is one of those things that they don't really make a lot of, because it's almost like making cheese.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of crazy things in yogurt, like those bacterial.
Yes.
Not antibacterial. I think it has bacteria.
Right.
In it. And so I would bring it to school and eat the yogurt.
Right.
And all the other kids were eating the worst junk.
Ew.
They were eating, they were eating, and these are smart kids. I was in like the brilliant kids class, and they were eating like junk. And they would drink a Pepsi and a Snickers bar. That was their lunch.
Right.
What type of lunch is that?
Yeah.
So I would eat the. So I had the yogurt with the plastic spoon, and I'm eating it.
Right.
I said, and these people. I mean, I don't know what nonsense there is. Almost like the people who go on the internet now and tell you all this nonsense about stuff. They were telling me all the stuff about what was on the in the yogurt. They were saying, what's in that yogurt is bacteria, and it's going to cause a lot of troubles. It's going to make your stomach explode, and then your whole body is going to like collapse on itself, and you're going to implode. All will be left is your skeleton.
Wow.
And flesh and so I said no. And sooner or later you're going to learn. Now they've always had a hard time getting men to eat yogurt. I guess it's not this little pudding sort of thing. So my dad was the one who actually got me to eat yogurt.
Instead of my mom.
Okay, tell about your mom.
She was a big fan of yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
She would encourage me to eat yogurt.
Yeah.
She used to get on me because she was worried about me being, weight conscious and everything. But,
It's rough on teenage girls.
I know. When I was younger, she used to say, Mary, you better eat that. You better eat some yogurt.
You better eat that yogurt.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad advice.
Yeah.
Yogurt is actually one of the few health foods that actually tastes pretty good.
Right.
Now, you have a theory about eating a potato in yogurt? What's that?
Yes. In place of sour cream, take like some plain Greek yogurt, add sour cream, and put it on your potato.
Greek yogurt.
It tastes just the same.
It tastes just the same.
It's more healthier.
Yeah, you're basically eating the potato at that point.
Right. So. Yeah, it's
a baked potato.
Right.
I used to have sour cream in my potato, and then I think I'm lactose intolerant. I just got so upset eating. Let me tell you something. I have friends who have never seen me. One person told me recently, I've known you for 30 years. I've never seen you eat an ice cream cone. I said, no, and you're not. You never will. I guess, think of humans as animals,
right?
Or mammals, and we are the only mammal that does not drink milk after being babies. All the horses and cows and all the other animals once they get of certain ages and no more milk, we eat other things. We eat plants or we eat meat or something.
You know who taught me to eat Greek yogurt on a potato?
Yeah.
My friend Becky.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away this past December.
Oh.
Yeah.
COVID?
It wasn't really COVID. It was some kind of encephalitis or something.
That's yeah. But she taught you how to eat
healthy.
Eat healthy,
And she would bake a potato for me, and she put
Greek yogurt
instead of it's the plain Greek yogurt, not the flavored Greek.
Greek yogurt is like a new thing.
Right.
In a sense that
I love Greek yogurt.
I mean, I never heard of it until recent years, and I remember in 2008. It's a very funny joke. It was in New Yorker. I'll tell you where it was. It was in the New Yorker, and it was a cartoon where this man is reading the newspaper, and it says economy goes down,
right?
And the wife is eating yogurt, and she says, "I can't understand why Greece's economy is doing so poorly when everyone I know is eating Greek yogurt." So yeah.
Right.
So Greek. I guess it's a little. They say it's better for you. It has less fat. It's creamier, so you think it has more fat, but I don't think it. I don't really know because all yogurt is very good. I was told at one time it's like a cheese sort of thing. Like it ages, but then I heard it's sour because they add lemon juice to it. There's so many different ways to make yogurt, and there's the plain yogurt. But somebody got the great idea to mix fruit in it, and yeah. So my dad would introduce me. Said you should start eating yogurt. Mm-hmm. He said I'm like a teenager at the time, and that's when I started eating it. He said he gave me what was at the time a more modern type of fruit in the yogurt. He goes, "This is a prune yogurt." Prune yogurt.
I haven't heard of that one.
And now remember, you don't see prune yogurt. You don't even see. Prunes are plums.
Right.
And people eat, like, prune juice?
Right.
I don't understand prune juice. I mean, it's plum juice. There's no juice in a prune.
I know. It's just like, like dry.
I know. You can't squeeze...
It's like a dry grape.
You can't squeeze a prune and get juice out of it. Right. You can squeeze a plum, and then you have a prune. And then you have a prune.
Right.
They're still good, though.
Yeah.
But to me, a prune is just like a hollowed husk, out husk of a plum,
Right.
But actually, getting back to the yogurt, the prune yogurt is actually pretty good. Yeah. So I would start eating that, and this is you like prune yogurt. We have even other yogurts. There's strawberry, like you said, strawberry, boysenberry, and all the others.
Peach and strawberry,
name a fruit,
blackberry.
And then there's lemon yogurt, and it's not even sour like lemons.
Right.
So anyway, what happened was. And then there's all these types of different yogurts. There's the ones you stir from the bottom and everything.
I love those.
My dad told me, and then there's Australian yogurt.
I haven't heard of that one.
And it's called Noosa.
Oh,
is the
I'd
brand
try
name,
that.
and you have to, it's real. I don't know if it's any healthier for you, but it tastes good, and it's certainly it's sweeter and everything. Fage. There's all these other brands, Yoplait. You mentioned. There's one. A lot of old people I know have use
Activia.
that. Activia, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And Activia, I think, makes you go to the bathroom more.
Yeah.
And then they had Jamie Lee Curtis do the ads for it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty funny because I mean, here's a woman that's doing these ads. And I can go to the bathroom now.
Yeah. Right.
Like she had a problem.
Yeah. There's this commercial. Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in this one, but it was a family between like a mother and daughter. Yeah. And I think somebody wanted them to try the Activia.
Yeah.
And they were it was an African American mother and daughter.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, when the old lady, which was the mother, she got to try the activity for the first time. Yeah. Then when she dipped her spoon to it, she was like,
like going through the motions.
I could maybe
like eating oysters or eating caviar.
I could probably send you the link to the comments.
Put it in the comments.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I like almost like like the movie.
It's like she's getting like kind of mesmerized. Like she was trying it for the first time, and she's overindulged or something.
They say yogurt is this really healthy food. Like for example, they would have these commercials.
Yeah.
I think for Dannon yogurt, and they showed these old people in Russia, like 110 years old, eating yogurt. That's all they ate, and they lived to be 110, and they were still, they're shoveling snow and cracking ice and everything. And let me tell you something: if I'm going to live out in the mountains of Russia, with the abominable snowman and eating yogurt, I hope they live to be 110.
Activia is made by Dannon.
Activia, and so I've been so my dad said he actually sent me out just last week, and now every week, he said I'm buying him all these different brands, different flavors of yogurt, and I'm telling him, did you like that one? Did you like that one? Did you have the one you had today? Was that? He said yeah, and they're all good, but I said no, tell me specifically what flavor, what brand. Was it Greek? Was it Australian? Was it Dannon? Was it the Yoplait? Was it anything? and let me know, and that's what I will get you more of.
Okay.
So he would give me the yogurt as a kid, and he said, I don't want you eating ice cream anymore. He said, this is better than ice cream. And I said, you mean like sherbet? And I said, well, sherbet doesn't really have fruit in it. And ice cream is just a lot of fat and milk and stuff. So yogurt is actually healthy for you. It actually has real clumps of fruit in it.
Right.
And even in things that weren't in season, like strawberries and blueberries, you would still have that in there.
Yeah, you could add it, on there. You know?
So
you could even add those to Greek yogurt if you want to. If you if you have it plain,
Yeah.
Just add some fruit to it and make it fruity.
But I do remember, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
Was that you could? There was a movie with Billy Crystal called Parental Guidance.
Oh yeah.
Bette Midler was it. I think Marissa Tomei played their daughter, and they had a kid that he thought he was very sharp on their birthday. He brought out an ice cream cake, and the daughter says to Billy Crystal, I don't want you getting ice cream for these kids. They're not allowed to eat ice cream. They can only eat yogurt.
Right.
And he says, well, come on, you won't let them eat ice cream, just yogurt. And just while he's talking, right in the background, you see the daughter just put her face and hands almost up to the shoulder. She was into this cake, and she was saying, Mama, you never told me how delicious this was. You said it is as good as yogurt. Yogurt tastes nothing like yogurt. It's so much better. You never want the kids to cross that threshold there with yogurt and yogurt to ice cream. Right. You try to teach your kids, how to eat properly, and then one day they just get a taste of stuff. I remember, there's certain foods like when I was a kid. I think the first time I had soda, had Pepsi Cola. I couldn't believe anything could taste so good.
Oh yeah.
And then, unfortunately, everything else doesn't taste as good. So that's all you want after that, and it's not a good idea. It's not gonna. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Forget about those commercials with the Michael Phelps people drinking soda all the time. No, they're not drinking soda all the time.
Yeah.
Or if they are, they're doing something. They're in the Olympics.
Right.
But and then like I mentioned that crazy yogurt Activia.
Right. Yeah.
With Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I once saw Jamie Lee Curtis. She was in, I think I mentioned this on another show. I was in the audience for a TV show she had called Anything for Love.
Oh, okay.
And it had her and her boyfriend was played by Richard Lewis, the comedian.
Okay.
And she was a very good actress. She always knew her line. I mean, she would talk to the audience from the stage, and then she would know her lines. And a lot of people were blowing their lines, but she was actually pretty good at it. And there's all these rumors about Jamie Lee Curtis. He even mentioned in in that movie Knocked Up, they actually referred to it and everything. So we were talking about Jim Nabors rumors and Richard Gere rumors, and now there's Jamie Lee Curtis rumors. And I saw her, and then years later I saw her father. He came to the Bird. Her father's Tony Curtis, the famous movie star.
Yeah.
And I could have asked him about his daughter, because now questions from the audience, and I said, hey, tell us about is that true about your daughter? Which was no, but I smartened up. What happened was they showed a movie called that he was in, probably the most famous movie he was in, Some Like It Hot.
Oh, yeah.
Marilyn Monroe was in it.
Yeah.
And what happened was, he gave little anecdotes, a little speech. He was interviewed by someone from TCM, and everyone pretty much there have already seen Some Like It Hot. So once he got off the stage, we all left. I didn't feel like watching Some Like It Hot again.
Right.
So anyway, so what happened was I go to so I'm the first one in line to get a microphone. I didn't realize these microphones were so strong.
Yeah.
So first question, the young man, the young good-looking man, the full head of hair, the chiseled jaw. No, they said the young man over there.
Right.
So I was a young man.
Yeah.
So they didn't say tall man though. Anyway, they grabbed the microphone. I grab the mic and I say, "Hello, Tony," and he's an old man at this point. He's like in his 60s. I go, "Ah!" I didn't realize, and I said, and I asked him. I did ask him about his daughter. I asked him, asked Tony Curtis, that he was in 2 movies by blacklisted writers. One, 2 great movies: Spartacus by Dalton Trumbo, and then another one, The Defiant Ones, where he's with Sidney Poitier. Right. And he also played the terrible King of the Blacklist, Joseph McCarthy, in a movie called Insignificance. Oh. And I asked him, "What is your dealings with the blacklist?" And that was the question I asked. I said, so then a lot of my friends were there. I didn't realize they were in the audience. And when they got their chance to ask him a question from there, they all called him Mr. Curtis. I was the only one who called him Tony. Which isn't his name anyway. It's Bernie Schwartz. Right. But the thing was that it was that point in my life that I stopped calling people Mr. and Mrs. Doohickey. Mr. and Mrs. Vanderhoosie. Doohickey. Vanderhoosie. I stopped. I now I'm on a first name basis with everybody. Doohickey. Now when you're Dickie Doohickey, that's his name. Ricky and Dickie and now do you, I guess do people call you by are you Mistress Mary?
Yeah. They call you? When I used to work with little kids, in dance classes and everything, they used to call me Miss Mary.
Miss Mary.
Yeah.
Good golly, Miss Mary.
Also, when I did an internship for a daycare center years ago when I was in high school, and they used to call me Miss Mary. So.
Miss Mary.
So that's how
I don't call anyone by their first name anymore. By their by Mr. and Mrs. Now, when you're a kid, you got to do it. And we had people in our neighborhood. Yeah. But I don't do it anymore. And because I'm in fact, my dad hates to be called Mr. too. He wants everyone to call him by his first name, Eddie. So then. In fact, he knows that Eddie's not his real first name. So when he has actually a formal first name, I'm not going to tell you, but people call him Eddie. So when somebody says I'd like to speak with Theodore, because his friends know that he's called Eddie, so they don't call him by his real name.
My grandfather used to be really, really funny about me calling older people Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah. Well, little kids.
Because he would be really strict on that every time I would, talk to an old person or something. Yeah. I'd be like, I would call them by the first name. But my grandfather would be like, "Don't you dare call them by the first name. You're not old enough yet."
Yeah. I what's weird is if you meet like parents of friends when you're old. Right. You still wind up calling them Mr. and Mrs. So what a lucky so-and-so they are.
Right, right.
I don't, and I try to get out of that, I know people, usually when I meet, like girlfriends' fathers and stuff, I usually call them by their first name. Well, they're usually younger than me. But what happens is, I don't call anyone younger than me by Mr. and Mrs. So anyway, usually the first time you meet someone, it's Mr. and Mrs., and then they'll say, "Hey, call me Bill." I say, "Oh, okay, I'll call you Bill." Yeah. And then from there on, you call him Bill. I remember once watching seeing another cartoon where a guy says, where the boss says to the employee, he says, "I'm not going to give you a raise, but I'll tell you this: starting next month, you can call me by my first name." But usually people who insist on being called, by their honorarium, usually it almost ticks me off right from the get-go. Yeah. This guy is not a guy I'm going to have fun with. If I have to have this, but I know girls, women. I mean, I know people, and they still call their friends' parents Mr. and Mrs. And I always tell my friends, call my dad Eddie. He likes it. because he would say, Mr. So and So is my father's name. All my friends call me Eddie. So then I can't say that. So when somebody walks in and they call me Mr., I say, hey, did my father walk in here? My name's Kevin or Kaye Lazar. and then I can't even say because my dad says you would have to go all the way to my grandfather. You want that?
Right.
So then what else? And then what else? I would. I remember once meeting. I've actually met 2 congressmen.
Oh.
Our congressmen. And they didn't want me to call them Mr. Congressman. They wanted me to call them by their first name. One was...
Mark Warner?
No, these were congressmen. No, I think the senator, wanted to be called senator.
Oh, okay.
I've met them all. Dave Bratt was a congressman, and then the one before him, Cantor?
Ed Cantor.
I called him by his first name.
Oh,
if I can remember
it.
But I called them because they told me to call them by their first name when I met them.
Oh.
And I have a new congresswoman now, Abigail Spanberger, and I call her Eric Cantor was his name. He told me to call him Eric, and I guess
Eric,
Abigail will want me to call it. She didn't have to call. I'll just say, hey, Abigail.
Yeah.
Now, you meet the president, you always have to call him Mr. President.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Governor, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
But just to be nice, I guess.
Yeah.
But my doctor's still, he's younger than I am. I still have to call him doctor.
Yeah.
He worked hard for his degree, and he wants people to call him doctor.
Yeah.
They don't like being called doc like in the movies,
Right.
You call them doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Even when they call me and they give me bad news on the phone. Oh, I got some bad news for you. This is Dr. Pepper. This is Dr. Scholl.
Oh, wow.
This is Dr.
Wow.
This is Dr. Seuss.
Wow.
So anyway, so I have I met a guy, famous DJ.
Right.
Radio man Harvey Hudson.
Yes,
When I met him, it was a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hudson. And he said, Harvey, call me Harvey. All right. I met, this kind of shows you maybe some sexism involved on my part. I met Jerry Hall last year in line at a Broadway show.
Oh.
And then I met her husband.
Oh, wow.
Who her husband, not Mick Jagger, but her husband, her current husband is, or new husband is Rupert Murdoch, the head of Fox News.
Right.
I called him Mr. Murdoch,
Oh,
but
okay.
when I shook his hand, but also when I said, thanks, Jerry. Thank you. I call her Jerry. She's so familiar to me.
Right.
From the Batman.
Right.
She played with the Joker's girlfriend in Batman.
Oh, I think it's
the first one with Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Jack Nicholson. Yeah. The best one.
Okay. She played Vicky Vale.
Yeah.
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 But I thought it became Batman's girlfriend.
No. Wait a minute. They both look the same. Just Jerry Hall plays the Joker's girlfriend, and Jack Palance's girlfriend, and I'll remember her name in a moment. Alec Baldwin. Kim Basinger plays Batman's girl, Vicky Vale.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
But they both have blonde hair.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how they got around.
Oh,
I guess because Catwoman always has black hair. They had to balance it out. A blonde like you.
Okay,
Yeah, beautiful blonde like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have. I my hair is getting grayer every time I see it. So I'm thinking once it turns all gray, I'll be like President Trump. I'm not going to blacken it again. I'm just going to make it all blonde. Look like Sting or something. On a good day, I'll look like Sting. On a bad day, I'll look like Donald Trump. So
Yeah.
I'd like to have his money though. Anyway,
that would be nice.
either one of them. I'd like to have more money. But anyway, so I've been let's see. I've been working on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
And St. Patrick's Day should be a lot of fun. I have some music to show you. I used to live in Ireland, and this is not the greatest hits, but it's John McCormick. know John McCormack is? He's the great Irish tenor in Ireland. They were, when I was living in Ireland a good while ago, they were still talking about him as if he were still alive. And they used to say, I was a DJ there, and they said, well, we'd like to hear music from the late, great John McCormack. I said, wait, the late, great John McCormack died in 1946. It was which was, at that point, a long time, like almost 50 years had gone. I said, you're still calling him late? The late, great George Washington? The late, great Julius Caesar? No, I think these guys have been around. I think they've been planted for a while, but anyway. And there's a lot of great songs on here. A lot of these songs I've never even heard of.
Danny Boy.
Danny Boy. Well, Danny Boy is going to be on there. In fact, they don't even call it Danny Boy. Right. It's a London Derriere, which is the same music.
Yes.
Without the lyrics.
Right.
But when I was listening to this, it was called "Oh Mary Dear," and it was a female version of Danny Boy.
Right.
But it was the same song.
Oh Mary Dear.
Oh Mary da da da.
The pipes are calling.
Well, I think from there on it's different lyrics, but it's "Oh Mary Dear."
Right,
da, 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 da.
I don't know.
The Carrie dance down by she moved through the fairs on it.
Oh, I love that. Well, that's like my favorite Irish song.
Yeah, Star of the County Down. I hear you.
You know the Celtic women sung that song.
What?
She moved to the fair. The Celtic women.
The Celtic women.
Yes.
There was a resurgence of Irish music.
Yes.
About 20-some years ago, with the not break dancing, river dancing.
River dance.
And the Celtic women.
Yes.
There are a lot of popular. There are a lot of even movies about Irish life and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, John McCormack. Was I think lived in America. He was an American citizen. He was from Ireland, but he would go back and forth all the time. And he died in 1946. Like I said, now he has the same day. I think this is the first time it ever happened. America and Ireland. I mean, they did this in together.
Right.
Issued a postage stamp with a commemorative postage stamp with his likeness on it. As a great Irish American and a great Irishman, and the same stamp, only for different countries. And John McCormack, I don't think he lived very long, probably 50 years old or so. I've noticed on here that one of these recordings is from 1908, but most of them are from 1930 to 1941. And I think he was still singing by the time he died, but I don't think he lived all that long. And these in those days, a lot of great opera singers blew out their voice, and I don't think singing is very good at that level. Very good for your health, and a lot of them don't live long. Caruso didn't live long. I don't think Richard Tucker lived long. A lot of these guys, if they live long, they retire.
Well, Mario Lanza.
Mario Lanza didn't live long. They retire. They just keep pushing it, up until they're 50, and if they're still alive at 50, then they either retire or they sometimes get retired.
Right.
I think that happened to Robert Merrill. They told him we can't have a 55-year-old guy playing the boy wonder, playing the student prince anymore.
Pavarotti was really good too.
Pavarotti, I think he lived past. He was one of the people who lived a little longer.
Yeah.
But he's gone.
Yeah.
And I mentioned on another show that one of the big regrets of my life. I've seen a lot of these opera singers, a lot of classical music people in person, and he was one I didn't see. Very hard to see him because it's very hard to get tickets to see these guys.
Right.
They sing. It's such a delight to see these guys.
Right.
Yeah, it's such a
yes.
And by the way, there's a movie. A lot of people think John McCormack's voice is in it, but it's not. It's a movie a lot of people know by the Coen brothers called Miller's Crossing, about Irish gangsters.
Oh, okay.
And what happens in it was there's a gangster is about to get killed, and he hears the people going up the steps, so he gets under the bed, and he plays the music on the radio really loud, and it sounds like John McCormack singing Danny Boy, but he shoots them down at their ankles with a machine gun, and then they fall, and then he shoots them again, and then he runs from the other guys down the stairs and to safety and everything.
Okay.
Albert Finney.
Oh yeah.
Albert Finney, and he's the guy, and the other guy was Gabriel Byrne.
Oh, okay.
And they were the Irish gangsters in the movie, and it's such a good movie. And the music, though, My mom saw this movie on the Late Late Show. She said, "Oh, I heard that John McCormack recording of Danny Boy was so good." And I said, "I've actually looked into that. I thought it was John McCormack, but that was actually specially recorded by the Coen brothers who made the film. It was a guy called Frank Patterson, who's a great Irish tenor of the later half of the 20th century. He's gone now too, but he's in a lot of Irish movies like Michael Collins and The Dead by John Huston and stuff like that. And he but the Coen brothers were, got a real recording of that sounded like John McCormack, just so you would think it was John McCormack. And Albert Finney, Yes. Wasn't he a great actor, Albert Finney?
Yes, he was. He was in Annie. He was good at that.
He was good in Annie, yes.
Yes.
And he was a fine actor. He was in Tom Jones. Oh, speaking of Tom Jones, you were talking about the woman slurping the yogurt. That's in Tom Jones, where they're eating seductively the food. Albert Finney. I once met Albert Finney in Charlottesville when I went to school there. A friend of mine invited me to a party, and a British guy was there with his friend, and he introduced himself as Albert or Al or something. I don't. But I was drinking myself, and so. But I think he was fine.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about British life. I don't know anything at that time. Didn't know anything about. I'd never been to England at that point in my life.
Yeah.
And when I go anywhere now, I like to go to London.
I'd love to go to London.
It's a great place.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
I've been.
I really want to go to London.
Okay. Go to London. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the pandemic's over.
Yes.
It's going to be better than ever. Now, so we were talking about Irish life and English life, and then we were just talking about stuff. And then a few days later, I meet the woman who invited me to the party. I said, "Thanks for inviting me to your party." And she says, "Yeah, one of the great Albert Finney was there." And she said, "Albert Finney was there? Yeah, he was making a movie like 50 miles away in like Northern Virginia, and he came down with a friend, and we wound up at the party." And I said, "Oh man, that's terrible that I missed him. I would have loved to have seen him."
Wow.
And she said, "You saw him. You talked to him longer than anybody." I said, "Oh, that was Albert Finney." See, it dawned on me. I didn't know what Albert Finney looked like.
Right.
Annie has a shaved head.
Yes.
And a fake nose, I think. And then I'd seen him in that, and I'd seen him in Murder on the Orient Express. He has that mustache, and he doesn't even look like himself in Murder on Hercule Poirot. Mm-hmm. And that was really the only movies I'd seen him in.
Right.
And then over the years I saw him in other stuff, but I didn't recognize him, from other stuff.
Right.
I didn't recognize him at all.
Yeah.
I would have asked for his autograph.
Yeah.
And he was very nice.
Right.
Albert Finney. And then what else? So so that was good. And then I I just love classical music.
Me too.
Yeah. Is there any ones you like? Any famous performers you like?
I like Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky?
Yeah.
Tell Tchaikovsky the news. It's
Yeah.
No, but do you like any performers that of our time?
Like that,
like Yo-Yo Ma.
Oh, I love
or
Yo-Yo Ma.
Who else?
It's
Zach Perlman.
I love Jim Breckman.
Jim Breckman, okay.
Yeah, and I love the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Okay.
I like
there you
them,
go.
and I like the Three Tenors.
The Three Tenors.
Yeah,
you got that.
And I love Celtic women, of course.
The Celtic women, yeah.
And I love the modern stuff too.
I love you have to. Sometimes if you're a snob like me, you kind of can gauge what people are like by what they like.
Yeah.
And if you ask them about classical music, there was a guy in when I was living in Ireland.
Yeah.
That if you ask them about classical music, or ask like a group of people about it, they'd always mention people like Mantovani.
Oh yeah.
Or they'd mention Lawrence Welk. Or they'd mention.
Oh yeah.
Or they'd mention. In those days, there was a guy James Last Orchestra, which was basically an orchestra. Ferranti and Teicher, the guys who play the piano.
Yeah.
The Ferranti and Teicher, every song they played sounded like Grieg's piano concerto. Dun, da, 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 da. But they played like, Mary had a little, Mary had a little laugh. I mean, they played songs like that. It's entertaining though. There's one guy called James Last, and he was very popular.
Wow.
But he was basically just popular songs played with an orchestra.
Yeah.
And when I think of classical music, I think of serious music, like you said, Tchaikovsky or Brahms or any of those people.
Yeah.
Oh, I have some classical music here.
Isaac Stern.
Isaac Stern. Yes. Now Isaac Stern was a great violinist out of San Francisco, and he was probably the greatest of his time. He lived, I think, through the 1990s, and let me tell you about Isaac Stern. I saw him in person once. I always wanted. I think he was the first really important classical music person I ever went to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to symphonies before then, but he came to Richmond Symphony as I think a benefit, and they were selling tickets, and I said I really got to see him. So I brought my movie camera in. And usually with these guys, they don't do the first half, and they come in after the intermission and play with the orchestra in a concerto usually. And he played the Brahms concerto, and when he came out, I was so excited. So I got my Super 8 camera. Now, the Super 8 cameras are not like this is before video. Video is silent, and some of that red light you could be kind of discreet with it, but you can't really be discreet with a Super 8 camera. You hear that it sounds like a sewing machine. It sounds like a projector.
Yes.
So I would get behind somebody and try to film something, and you're kind of just get away from me! I'm trying to listen to this. I paid money to see this.
Camera.
Yeah. And what's weird is that they don't make really that much noise when you play the. It was a sound camera too.
What year was it? Was it like in the 70s?
It was
or
like
80s?
I'll tell you what year. I'll tell you exactly what year. It was 1979.
Oh, okay. That's the year before I was born. So.
Okay, yeah. So I did something before you were born.
Yeah.
So anyway, and now look at you.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I saw Isaac Stern, and then I was this filmmaker.
Right.
So like a year or two later, I made a movie with Super 8. And I said, I know how I can get Isaac Stern in this movie. So I took the Super 8 footage I had, and it wasn't a whole lot, maybe less than a minute.
Right.
And I had friends of mine sit in like a theater looking, and then I would cut in and then redub the whole thing, which I think I may have taken the original music off because it was sound film, but it all worked out where they're all watching, and then people after the show were saying, "How'd you get Isaac Stern to be in your movie?" Isaac Stern.
I would love to have seen that one.
Yeah, so anyway, I can get it for you. Actually, there's one of the few movies I can show you.
I like to see it.
So what happened was, it was Jacques Houtman was the conductor in those days of the Richmond Symphony. So anyway, so Isaac Stern. Yeah. So then after the show is over, I'm so excited. I got film of him and everything. I said, I'm going to try to meet Isaac Stern. So I go. It is at the Altria Theater now. It used to be called the Mosque. I go in through the exit door.
That's my dream theater. I would love to be on stage in that
theater. Yeah, well, good goal. Once the pandemic's over, and then I go in through the exit, side exit, stage door, I guess it's called, and I go up the stairs, thinking, well, I wonder where his dressing room is or something. Mm-hmm. So as I don't really go very far. I'm just going up the stairs, and he's walking down. So I get so excited and say, "Wow, Isaac Stern, so great to meet you." Yes. And I said, "I want you to know that," and I mentioned a movie. Humorous is one of my favorite movies, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. Yes. And he like put his hand behind me, and then he shook my hand. And this is a guy, more than 50 years playing the violin at top peak. His hand was like a catcher's mitt. Wow. It was huge.
Ooh, that's huge.
It's almost like a whole arm could like fit in his hand. It was so strong with his hand.
Yeah, he could grab your whole.
And he's only like my height. He wasn't a big guy at all. So Isaac Stern. So then I had to tell everyone that I saw Isaac Stern. I met Isaac Stern. Isaac Stern, I'll tell you where you could find Isaac Stern in popular culture. It's very interesting. He appeared on the Jack Benny Show quite a bit, so you could. I'll put it in the comments. Episode of him guest starring on the Jack Benny Show, being it was just funny, teaching Jack Benny how to play the violin, and he was the greatest violinist at the time. There's also Oh, the movie Music of the Night.
Oh, I love that movie.
Or Music of the Heart. Music of the Heart.
I love that movie.
I think that's what it's called. It's the only serious film directed by Wes Craven, and it has Meryl Streep and Aidan Quinn.
Oh yeah,
and
I love that movie.
The woman Gloria Estefan. And they're all on stage, and he's there. He spent the last few years of his life trying to restore Carnegie Hall from its glory, raise money for it, and they were there.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. And then what else is he? I mentioned Humoresque. My favorite movie, old time movie, is called Humoresque, and it's about a John Garfield. Becomes this great violinist, falls in love with with Joan Crawford, a much older woman, and it's a beautiful movie. Lots of music. Oscar Levant is in it. Robert Blake, the little boy actor who wound up getting in trouble when he got older. Used to be in the Our Gang comedy. Who else is in it? J. Carroll Nash. A lot of good people in it. And John Garfield did not play the violin. What happened was, it's really funny. You see John Garfield's face. Pretend this is John Garfield, and Isaac Stern's hands were right behind him with the violin going like this, and you didn't see. And it looked very. If you know that it's fake, it looks fake. But if you don't know it's fake, it looks pretty good.
Right.
And it was done perfectly. And another funny, Isaac Stern wasn't in this, but his personality was in it. There's a movie called Shine, where the guy goes crazy becoming a pianist in Australia, and when he goes to London, David Helfgott, and he's this virtuoso prodigy as a little boy, and wins all these competitions in Australia playing the piano, and then there's an actor, a younger actor who looks like a young Isaac Stern comes out, and they said, we have Isaac Stern here to offer you something, and we offer you a scholarship to a London Conservatory of Music, and so Isaac Stern was still alive at the time, and he said, "Did you really do that to David Helfgott? Offer him a thing?" He said, "I might have." He goes, "What do you mean you might have?" He goes, "Well, in those days, almost everywhere I went and heard kids play music, I was usually there to offer them a scholarship or an invite to a conservatory." So, and he did that on a weekly basis. So the one time he did it, that they made a movie about the kid. And and then the kid eventually became a schizophrenic and was forgotten for 30 years, and then came back and they made the movie about him. Yeah, Shine. That's another one of my favorite movies because I just love classical music and movies.
Yes. Also, there's another movie with Jamie Foxx in it called The Soloist.
Yes.
And he was a homeless guy.
And that's a true story too.
And he was schizophrenic.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people that are prodigies, they just run them through the mill. You know,
I know.
And these things, they drive them. I don't think your nervous system, your brain stem is ready for all that. Is ready for all that pressure they put on you. Gymnastics, people that are in the Olympics, tennis people, certainly music people.
Oh yeah.
They go math. I was almost a prodigy like that. You know, let me tell you something. I was a very brilliant young boy.
Right.
And I didn't grow up to reach the great potential like a lot of these people, like these chess prodigies or anything. But I may not be as smart as they are, but as an adult, I'm saner.
That's
so given the choice, it's more important. I think it's more important to be sane than famous and crazy.
Right.
Or be the local eccentric.
Right.
So what else? I think this. We're actually remaking a show. So what else do you want to talk about?
There's a singer named George Strait.
George Strait.
He was a country singer back in the 1980s.
George Strait, yes. George Strait was he's still around. And he still records.
Yes.
All my exes live in Texas.
Let me tell you something about George Strait.
Yeah.
My grandmother, even though she was of old age back in the day in the 80s, she used to love George Strait.
Yeah.
She would watch every single show that George Strait appeared on.
Well, he is good.
Like concerts and variety shows and all that stuff.
Yeah, he made a movie Pure Country or something.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it.
He directed it or something. No, he didn't direct it, but he's in it.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it was
it's the only film he's made.
Yeah, back came
as an actor, he's a good country singer.
It came out in 1992, I think.
Yeah, I saw George Strait. I'll tell you when I saw him. It was really great. I was getting really into country music.
Yeah.
And they had like this festival of country music at the Richmond Coliseum. And it was sold out. And I had a pretty good seat close up, so I got a pretty good shot.
I was probably a baby when that was happening. So.
Probably was. Everywhere I go, no. It used to be I was the youngest guy everywhere I went. Now I'm the oldest guy, and nobody... And it was never, no one sent me the memo that the next time you come here, you're going to be the oldest guy.
Right.
It just all of a sudden happened that way.
Yeah.
But George Strait, I'll tell you who was there. It was George Strait, a young up-and-coming singer who actually did have some hits at that point. Ricky Skaggs, who was really, I think, the most popular singer there.
Yes.
And then the third one was the old-time singer, which a lot of people went there to see, was Merle Haggard.
I love Merle Haggard.
Yeah, with all three, and that was the order they did it in.
Right.
And the one I knew the least amount about was George Strait.
Right.
But you're there and you see him, and he's very good and he's very entertaining.
Right.
And then the show starts, and everybody rushes up to take pictures.
Right.
This is before cell phones. So people just had their cameras and they took pictures. And I had my camera, obviously, and was taking pictures.
Right.
And then what happened was, I think the security man just shushed us away, and then the next song started, and we all came up again. And right before they shushed us away, he ended the song. George Strait says, "Hey, if these people want to take pictures, they can take all the pictures they want." And I said, "All right, he's my man now. Anyone who lets us take pictures, that's great." This, cell phones you can't avoid it, but those days you could shush away the half dozen people that were taking pictures.
Right, yeah.
So, and George Strait was, he had a lot of tragedy in his life.
His daughter got killed at the age of 16. Back, like, in the mid-'80s, I think.
Yeah.
That was such a shame.
A lot of these times, it's awful. A lot of these people there, when tragedy befalls them like this, they always feel it's their fault.
Right.
Even if it's not their fault.
Yeah.
And I think in the case of George Strait, he probably felt I was working too hard. I didn't keep my mind on things and everything. Wow, that happened. I should have been there,
Right.
And thus he's somewhat semi-retired from touring. He still records albums and stuff, and he's still good.
Yeah.
George Strait is a real class act, and George Strait is really good. Yeah. So you had someone else you want to talk about?
Yes, let's talk about Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt, yes.
Yeah, she doesn't perform as much anymore because she has that Parkinson's disease.
She got the Kennedy Center honors just last year.
Oh.
Right before the pandemic, but you don't have to perform there. You just sit and get your medal. But they were wondering if she'd even show up for that. If you don't show up for that, you don't get it. Yeah. Because you have to be living and show up for the assembly. Yeah. But she did show up, but she doesn't perform anymore because she sadly Parkinson's. Yeah. She I think she's had a lot of health problems over the years. I don't think she's always been a well woman.
Yeah.
She's
I have a few of her albums. So.
Yeah. I think, but there's a documentary about her out right now.
Okay.
And one great thing about her albums are she tried to make them all different or different genres. She didn't just stick with the rock and roll. She had like the Nelson Riddle music, all the standards. She actually brought back a lot. I mean, brought back the standards. She brought back that whole Frank Sinatra type of singing, like Harry Connick and people that she would, and Michael Bublé. She was the first one to do that.
Yeah, she would also bring back some Motown hits.
But
she did them earlier before she did the Frank Sinatra kind of stuff.
I had a chance to see her in New York at Radio City Music Hall in New York. This would be 1983. Listen to this. She had that album out, and I thought this album was great. Their first album.
What's New?
What's New was the name of the album.
That's a good one.
And what happened was she was going to be there at Radio City Music Hall with the whole orchestra. Nelson Riddle Orchestra, And New York, everything's expensive, more expensive than everywhere else.
My grandfather owned that album, What's New.
Well, I had it too.
Yeah. I don't know if I
She had 3 albums, sort of, that similar songs.
I have mostly her older stuff, like she did like rock and roll and folk and all that stuff.
Yeah. She sang with the Eagles, I think.
Yeah, she did.
And she even sang, I think, with the Monkees for a while. Yeah. I mean, this is before she was famous.
And the Stone Ponies.
The Stone Ponies,
way back.
Yeah, I mean, she was there, and then she branched on her own and sang mariachi songs.
Right.
And well, anyway, so this is going to be at Razor City Music Hall, and so I looked at the tickets, and there was something like $35. It was a lot of money to see anyone in those days. Now it's not so much, but in those days, $35 was like $200.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a ticket. So then I saw that she was going to be on the David Letterman show, and I said, well, maybe I can get in line to see David Letterman.
Yeah.
But I said, forget about it. I just watch her on TV. So I never got to see Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen
all those songs she did with Aaron Neville.
I like her with Aaron Neville too.
Well, she's always, she has a good voice.
Right.
She never married. She had 3 famous boyfriends, probably a few famous boyfriends, but first was Albert Brooks, then was the governor of California, Jerry Brown, then was George Lucas, the Star Wars guy. They had,
I didn't know they dated.
Yeah, and there was he took a 20-year retirement from directing, George Lucas, and the only thing he directed in the meantime was a 4-minute video with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. To know him is to love him. They had those what were they called? The Trio album.
Yeah.
And they called their super band Trio. It was just Emmylou, Linda Ronstadt, and Dolly.
I was getting ready to say that part. I know she did something with.
And then she did a second
Dolly
album like 20 years later.
And all that.
Well, those are really.
I was going to mention that to you too.
They're very good albums.
You beat me right to it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, of course I did.
Yeah.
I'm always on. I'm on top of everything.
You and I are both smart, so.
Thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone ever said to me. They usually tell me how good looking I am, and then finally someone says I'm smart. I really appreciate that. Absolutely. Anyway, what a wonderful show.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing your juice box with me.
Absolutely. It was great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Sláinte was what you say in Ireland.
Yes, sláinte.
Which means good to your health.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you all for tuning in with us, and we hope you all have a wonderful evening, and may God bless you all. And
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Exactly. Happy St. Patty's Day, and remember to stay safe, because we're still in a pandemic.
My name is Kaye Lazar. This is the wonderful Mary Elizabeth and the Mary Elizabeth Variety Hour. Take it away.
God bless you all. Take care. Love you all very much.
That comes the hard part.